Guidelines for evaluating multimedia sources, in particular educational multimedia sources. So why does it really matter that we need to thoroughly scrutinize educational media sources? Well, one reason is that anyone can publish educational information online. And unlike textbooks and other traditional sources or materials that are used in the classroom, online sources are not meticulously scrutinized. As educators, we are passing on information to young, impressionable people, and when misinformation is given to these young students, sometimes this can increase student stress, as was found by the link here provided on the slide. So some of the critical features to look for when we're evaluating educational online resources is, one thing we can check is, who is the target audience? What is this site geared towards? Is it geared towards our grade level? Is there a particular audience that it is catering to? The second thing we can look at is credibility. Are things such as author's name, email provided, contact information for the authors? Does the author's educational credentials or expertise, are they clearly stated and easily accessible on the site, so we know what the author's background is? Also, accuracy. Is the content adhering to a particular standard or level of standards that we would prefer our students to look at? Is it grammatically correct? Something as simple as, are there grammatical errors on the site? Can tell us a lot in terms of who the authors are, what the target audience is, and what the objective of this particular educational site is. The last one we can look at is this site subjective or is it objective? That is not to say that if an author states a subjective opinion about a particular subject that it isn't valid or true, but it must be stated that the author is leaning one way or another or has a bias if that is true on that particular site. So some tips that we can use when we examine sites. Well, the first one, the major one, is looking at the URL. The domain can actually tell a user a lot about the organization that published the website. So something we want to look at is it a .gov? Is it a .org? Is it something like a state website, like a .ca? Again, looking at grammatical errors within the site can tell us a lot when we're examining educational resources for their validity. Lastly, are there links to the authors, institutions, and funding organizations for this website? Oftentimes, in particular when we're looking at science websites, these sites will have links to the author, but not only that, to the author's institution, as well as sites such as the National Science Foundation and other types of organizations that are actually providing funding for these websites.